I think when it just comes to what we got going on in America, man, it's like American men can't be happy unless it's under the conditions of America.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believe that now because I'm like when I think about all the reactions that I do, and even when a woman is like showing she's doing something for her husband, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, other women just and I just be looking like y'all are on some really weird behavior. Y'all really don't want y'all man to like be happy, satisfied. Nothing. Y'all got this attitude like he just supposed to do for you, be your servant, be your jester. And what? Yeah. And what? He just supposed to be happy because you in his presence. Like you ain't doing nothing for this brother. Mm-hmm. And like women are just like any woman that does anything for a man or anything that makes him happy. So when they see men going to another country searching for that exact same thing, oh, now we gotta shame you. Now we got. It's a way to try to shame you back to accepting the bare minimum.
What's going on, family? It's your man B&T, and guess who I have here today? My man.
AMU, Average Man Unplugged, man. Good to be here, brother.
For sure, man. So you pulling up in Thailand. This ain't your very first time coming to Thailand, but
I don't lost count of how many times I've been here. I basically just tell people I live here or spend most of my time here now, but you know, still traveling and visiting other countries though, for sure.
Nice. And I know we always do like the little rankings and everything like that, but just in your opinion, like what do you like the most? Because everybody's different. They're gonna have their own rankings, but
as far as like what countries I've been to,
right.
I would say Thailand is definitely number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I would probably go Colombia, and then let's see, three, I'm probably gonna go maybe Philippines. Then I'm probably gonna go. I'll probably say Brazil, Vietnam.
Okay.
That's probably my top five right now. I'll say that.
Vietnam, really?
Because Vietnam is just so inexpensive, bro. It's just it's tough. It's tough. Like Vietnam, low key, I want to say is like it's hard to say this because Thailand being inexpensive, but it's even more inexpensive than Thailand. And the food is just as good, if not maybe even better. People are super friendly. And depending on where you go, because I've only been to Da Nang, but you know they got coastal cities that are right by the beach, beautiful beaches, and there's a lot to see and do there. And if you're into nature, then you'll definitely like Vietnam. I remember seeing a video like where you can get like a 10-bedroom mansion for like $2,000 a month. Like it's that inexpensive. So, you know, if you're into trying to like flip houses or whatnot, might be something to look into as well.
Okay. So man, what do you think about this whole Passport Bro space years later? Because you was kind of in a different sector in YouTube. You were doing like reactions and reviews. And I think you started seeing maybe Passport Bros content. You was like, well, hold on. Is that what kind of just changed your mind and decided, well, I'm going to start traveling the world?
Yeah, because I'm like, I was already kind of watching like people like Ace Live and Check and Effect. So I already kind of had it in mind. And then I don't know, maybe it was the algorithm and is like what they like to say. Because then I start coming across Passport Bro content. And then I start seeing guys like Austin Holloman, Richie Mack. Then I start seeing guys like you and other guys. And I'm like, damn, like, hold on. There's like a whole community of guys just over here just like traveling, collabing, and just linking up, having a good time. Like, I'm like, damn, you know what? Like, I can sense the brotherhood in it. So it was like, you know what? Like let me look into this, man. And you know, fortunate I was able to be in a position of now that I've been able to travel myself and meet brothers like yourself and Richie Mack, who I've done an interview with as well, and other YouTubers like Ja, and yeah, man, meeting people that watch the channel as well, man. So that's been pretty dope too.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I welcome you to the space because when I saw your videos, I was just like, yeah, he gets it. You know what I'm saying? He gets it. Would you say dating in America is pretty much dead, or it's just so sparse, like it's dating in a desert or something? Like trying to find nourishment in a desert. Like you can find it. It's a couple of little things you can do to survive in the desert, but it's like difficult.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it, man. It's pretty much a desert out there. You're gonna have a really hard time finding what you're looking for, man. I think we in the West we just so far gone, man. I don't think there's any coming back from it. I really don't. We really need a reset. But I just like I say all the time, it'll get better before it get worse. But I'm like, surprisingly, it is getting worse. I'm like, I thought it couldn't get worse, but it seems so because they coming into 2025 still talking that same nonsense they've been talking for like the last 2-3 years, and I'm just like, this ain't getting y'all nowhere. But
Like, why did you decide to kind of move forward on the side of the passport, bro, instead of like, because a lot of content creators take the opportunity to diss it. Even some of the content creators that are traveling right now to different countries, like Brazil, they're diss passport bros, but then they're actually abiding by the passport bros ideology. What made you decide to be like, you know what, man? I'm not going to diss them. I'm going to actually see what it's about. Because that's an easy route for views. If y'all don't know, it's an easy route for views.
Yeah, it really is an easy route for views. I'll say this because I think what really sparked my interest is because just the traveling factor, because I always wanted to travel anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was hearing the success stories of other guys that are going overseas and got married, been in these relationships and stuff like that, I said, you know what? That's not going to be my priority, but if that's possible, or maybe I could just have, better experiences dating overseas versus dating back home, then, like it ain't going to really hurt me. You know what I mean? I figured best case scenario, you just look at it as seeing something new, vacation, going to a new country, and so be it. But for me, I saw how can I say? I saw a solution to the problem that was going on as far as the dating culture in the West. So that's what interested me and made me think like, you know what, let me look into it instead of just trying to talk shit about people about it, because it's like I already knew this is something that's been going on years before Passport Bros ever became a thing anyway. So like it wasn't nothing new. It's just basically something that's kind of been rebranded in under that name and into whatever it is now. But for me, also I saw the other benefits of it as well, like the cheaper cost of living, and cleaner food and things of that nature. The stuff that those detractors can't really dispute because they will be a fool to not take advantage of it themselves if they can do it.
What do you think about passport? What's your opinion? We have a problem with it. Black women as a reason to go over to take advantage of women who are not financially stable. You go over here to find somebody who's going to treat you like a king.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
That's why they only talk shit about Passport Bros when it comes to the women, because everything else that's beneficial about the shit, they don't have an argument against it. Because how can you argue cheaper cost of living? How can you argue get more bang for your buck? You look like a fool. They're not gonna do that.
What do you think, like, as far as the plantation bros? I put that terminology out there years ago, and it kind of somewhat went. It's like that. It's in the lexicon. It's in the vocab now that we can identify plantation bros, because it's hard. It's hard to
the lexicon.
Yeah, it's hard to like call them out in the States, right? Because you just say it's just some Negro, ninja stuff, but
right.
But as far as but now that you're overseas, you can actually see what a plantation bro is. Like, what do you think about these other content creators that's always kind of like getting in the mix, dissing Passport Bros, but not only dissing us, but like getting into like the personal relationships in Passport Bros, like it's somebody else's business.
My first thought on that is, do these brothers even got a passport? That's what I want to know. Because what I find very common with these brothers, especially these attractors, is either one or two things. They either don't have a passport or never traveled out of the country, or if they do travel out of the country, they don't really like move around like that, or in some cases, do I really want to go there? No, I don't want to go there. But
Go there and say that, hey,
in some cases they tend to stay in one spot and stay in high. But and talk, and they got a different kind of energy when they're met in person or confronted. But I'm just gonna leave that at that. But that seems to be the common thing between the tractors, aka plantation bros or whatever. But my other thing is that why are they complaining? I don't understand like how it affects them. Like if it affected them, I can understand their argument, but it doesn't affect them in any shape or form. So it's like, if anything, you would think it would be beneficial to them because don't that mean there's just more women for you back home anyway?
Facts.
But I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a little bit too logical, but I don't know. That's what makes sense to me because it doesn't make. Because even before I heard of Passport Bros, I was kind of like, it never bothered me none. Even if I looked at it the way the trackers looked at it, I wouldn't be over here like falling out about it because it's like it's not doing anything to me. So why should I really care?
Yeah, same here, man. It's like I see the content creators. I understand the game of YouTube, but it's one thing to criticize somebody's moves or whatever it is, but it's another thing to actually sit there and make content hating on guys traveling the world. It just makes no sense, no matter what type of angle you spin on it. But I get that every industry or every group or content creators have like this beef to a certain degree. For example, we was beefing with the dating coaches. Early on in the Passport Bro space, it was us. So we kind of was coming at them from, I can almost say, coming up angle. Like they was up here, the dating coaches, but I recognized early on, and I know a lot of other guys recognized, it was like these guys are full of it. They don't show no receipts. They just tell you that, hey, we can, it's us. It's nothing wrong with the women. It's us. We don't have enough game. So it was like, we got to pay them to get this game in order to talk to women or some shit. It didn't make no sense, right? But with the Passport Bros, it's just like, there is, besides consultations, there is like no direct payments. Like we're just showing you our receipts. We just say, hey, you are content for the most part. Yeah. Whereas day coaches had a whole industry behind them of, people paying for their services and whatnot. And it was like, guys were paying like $400-$500, like to, I'm like, you guys are crazy.
More than that.
And the crazy part is, even Fresh and Fit had somewhat issues with the Passport Bros at first. Then they started messing with, like, we all know how Myron is. Like, Myron is like a, low-key prejudice against Black Americans for the most part. So when it was the Passport Bros was this Black American thing, it's like he brought a white guy on, and I guess he kind of be like designated Passport Bro, and it's okay now for white guys to do it. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the Black man catching so much heat for being so? Because it's the actual phrase that I coined. It was pretty much brothers, right? It was a derivative of Black man travels for the most part. We just started calling it Passport Bros to be a little bit more inclusive.
Right.
But what do you think about the white guys being able? You're not being prejudiced or racist, but what do you think about them being able to do whatever that the Black guys get criticized so heavy about travel?
Ooh, man, that's a good question, man. Bit of a touchy subject, to be honest.
Yeah,
because I don't, and it's because I hate using the term white privilege, and or white privilege is a thing, but I don't. I guess it's one of those things where you just once you start traveling, you just need to have that awareness. So that way it's not something that like surprises you or something that triggers you. Um, but it is a bit frustrating to see that black men get such a bad rap. Because here's the thing that really be driving me mad about this, bro. More often than not, when you hear these bad stories about guys overseas, it's Caucasian men. More often than not, you'd be surprised. I would make the argument it's Caucasian men more than it is black men, American black men. The only time you really hear about American black men is when it comes to the druggers and robbers in Colombia. Everything else that I hear bad is usually involves Caucasian men, and I'm not talking about white American men. I'm talking about Caucasian men from different countries all over the world. I'm like, and this is just me, having my ear to the street because I'm traveling so much now, so I'm trying to pay attention to what's going on around me. And from what I'm seeing, outside of Colombia for the brothers, real. I'm like, and there's even some white people getting drugged and robbed in Colombia too. So don't get it misconstrued. I think in some cases it can probably be misleading just due to media. Maybe might be trying to push a certain propaganda that could be playing a factor as well. But yeah, it ain't what people think it is. To be honest with you, because that is frustrating because that's something that I've noticed.
Yeah, most definitely. Even like black men don't recognize their true potential and power until they outside the states. Now, a lot of us are successful in America, but like when you have an international strategy, when you got accounts in different countries, properties in different countries, and everything, and you leveraging, your business in America to fund businesses overseas, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of power. It's immensely more power than just having all your investments in America. Although those investments can be very fruitful because you get an American dollar, it's just that things hit harder with us normally than other ethnicities of people. Like when we do something, like our citizens gonna be maxed out, and like they be really trying, brothers, in America for the most part because of the political system. So I think a lot of brothers recognize, like, hey man, this is dope living overseas, and for whatever reason, the women, like the foreign women, like took all the attention off the other things that were beneficial about being overseas. Like me, Andre, I feel like we're more like the business arm of the passport. So we all talk about the opportunities that guys have overseas. But it seemed like the issue is that American guys are dating, black or white, are dating foreign women. Why is that so controversial? Because there's no controversy between a foreign man dating an American woman. Why are we so controversial about that, in your opinion? I got some questions ready for him, boy.
Yeah, you got me.
Because you did reactions on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna sound like a smart ass when I say this, bro. I think when it just comes to what we got going on in America, man, it's like American men can't be happy unless it's under the conditions of America. I genuinely believe that now because I'm like when I think about all the reactions that I do, and even when a woman is like showing she's doing something for her husband, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, other women just shit on it. And I just be looking like, y'all are on some really weird behavior. Y'all really don't want y'all man to like be happy, satisfied, nothing. Y'all got this attitude like he just supposed to do for you, be your servant, be your jester. And what he just supposed to be happy because you in his presence? Like you ain't doing nothing for this brother. And like women are just like shitting on any woman that does anything for a man or anything that makes him happy. So when they see men going to another country searching for that exact same thing, oh, now we gotta shame you, and now we got. It's just it's a way to try to shame you back to accepting the bare minimum. And it's like, ain't nobody going for that, man. I'm like, the veil's been lifted. The men ain't going for that no more.
Yeah, it's crazy because like the shaming technically is supposed to be for the women, but it seems like the shaming is a lot on the men, especially black men. Like we get shamed for every single thing we do. We almost have this. I say that it's almost an impossible standard because we're like almost a billion strong as far as people that identify with African, whether it be in Africa or a diaspora. We're like a large populace. So to have this impossible standard that all black men gotta be on the same note, you're not gonna have certain classes of black people, right? You got some black people that are hood, but you got some black people that go to Harvard. You know what I mean? You got some black people that are entrepreneurs, you got some that will beg you to the day you die. Like we have all classes of people, like every other ethnicity. Right. But for some odd reason, since we don't control our media, like we don't control our own self-image. We're starting from now because of the internet. So you're seeing more views of black men through, YouTube channels and everything like that. But for years, we didn't control our own self-image. So it's almost like, for instance, I got in a little scuffle, we're not going into it, but like the criticisms, it's just like, okay, grown men can't get into an altercation, like that happens. Like, oh, you black men ruin Thailand, y'all messing up. I'm like, do you know how many fights it is in Thailand on a random night?
Right.
Like I understand that, I think for accountability for the little scuffle, what people do that ass. But it's still like, okay, it's gonna happen, bro. Right. But some brothers be thinking like that we could just have a solution to everything. I'm like, no, bro, like it's classes of people.
Right, and it happens across all races, you guys. I was literally in Mist a couple nights ago, and a Chinese guy got into a scuffle. Chinese.
Right.
So it's like
the minority in America, basically.
Right,
yeah.
You feel me? Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, you shouldn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, you from another country still, but you still Asian, just like he's happy. Like, if anything, you shouldn't be having these problems. But it just goes to show you, bro, it can happen. It don't matter what color, race you are. It don't matter. It really don't matter, bro.
Men are gonna disagree, and if people be thinking like. I was telling you before we even started the podcast, I be having conversations with a lot of these foreigners, right? And I think sometimes, especially as Black Americans, we almost forget, like we think like we didn't have our own struggle. Now, we had a struggle. Like we're still having issues with American government and certain things they should have done for us. And like we still got those issues going on, policing and, white supremacist group infiltrating police departments around America. So, like, it's a lot of little stuff that goes on in America, but it's also a lot of stuff that goes on in these other countries. And then when they tell you what they had to go through, like, bombings and drafts, and, you just be like, let me just, you know what I'm saying? It's like we're not spoiled like Americans, but we take for granted certain things because it just came to us. Like, if you look at some of the projects that we grew up in, off and on, they would be luxury to some of these people in some of these countries. Like, we take running water for granted that we can drink water out of our faucet in America for the most part. For the most part. Right. So, it's just interesting to hear about different people's stories because you'd be like, damn, you died in the draft? Y'all still got a draft in our country? Like, these countries be still going at it, bro. They still be warring in a lot of these countries. In the Middle East, they be having their little proxy wars and everything. America, we have like a lot of social injustice, which is hella annoying. Like, it's hella like stressful to a certain degree. But all in all, man, I just think that being a passport bro has been truly a blessing to me. And a lot of
What's good, family? Make sure to check out the official Passport Bros merch store.